Hello and welcome to this vlog post. This is the first recording from my beautiful new cottage in the foothills of Mount Snowdon in Wales, and it seems appropriate then that this first vlog from this fabulous location is the audiobook of a lady who I believe has a particular affinity with this part of the world. It's from the beautiful Lily Harlem, and this is the second in her The Challenge series, which is a reverse harem romance with scenes of an explicit adult nature, so don't pop it on in the car stereo on your next family holiday unless you want to give your children a particular education. The first episode, Castaways, is already available on Amazon, iTunes, Audible, and this, the second in the series, is Tearaways, and it continues to follow the group on their journey. I'm going to read to you the back of the book. Excuse me reading from my phone. Lily doesn't actually publish her books in paper form, so they're all on whatever little gadget you care to read them on, and equally as fabulous as reading them in paper form. So let me read you the back. This is Tearaways from Lily Harlem. Hitting the open road with 5 hot guys. What's not to love? Oh, I've already read that. I've already read that sentence. Lily doesn't repeat her sentences as much as I do. Having survived the challenge, Olivia is now hitting the road with her 5 sexy men. Seeing them all dressed in tight leathers with big, growling Harleys between their legs is enough to have her pulse racing and her mouth watering. So naturally, before long bonds strengthen, love blooms, and they're all enjoying the ride of their lives. But with little more than bikes and the clothes on their backs, how will they survive a long, arduous journey? Having a billionaire's heir in their midst is no help when Dante Vidal is insisting on them being cashless and having to work for their supper. Amongst all of that, Olivia finds herself performing a complex juggling act, having alpha males sparring, sparks flying, and tempers flaring needs a strong woman to take charge. Is she up for the challenge of keeping her men happy, connected, and most of all satisfied? One thing is for sure, it's a task she's willing to throw herself into, heart, body, and soul. Give me a second, I'm going to bring up the book so that I can read you the first few pages of chapter 1. I should put it out there, I am a woman, and I am not 5 men. However, I am voicing the parts of 5 men. So if you do listen to this audiobook expecting to hear 5 actual men, I'm just going to manage your expectations. They're all going to be me. So, just make sure that you're happy with that, perhaps, before you go in listening to this book. I do quite a good masculine voice, just saying. Anyway, chapter 1. This is the first few pages of Lily Harlem's Tearaways, book 2 in her The Challenge series. Chapter 1. Olivia stood in the Vidal's residence in New York City and gawped. Sorry, I just turned my phone around. I couldn't read the writing. Sure, she'd known it would be lavish, huge and decadent, but what she hadn't counted on were the original Monets and Picassos hanging on the wall, the grand piano once owned by Sir Elton John, and the panoramic view over Central Park sweeping toward the Empire State Building. Wow, she said, walking up to the French doors which were flung open to the warm day. A wide wraparound balcony circled the living area and was elegantly dressed with lollipop-shaped topiary trees and sleek garden furniture. There was even a water feature, a large golden ball that rotated under the floor as if spinning in mid-air. This is incredible. You like it? Harry asked. How could I not? She placed her hands on her hips and stared around. Not only was it her first time in a billionaire's penthouse, it was also her first time in the Big Apple. This view! She squinted as she tried to take it all in. Every building reminded her of a movie, and the sprawling park made her itch to get down there and explore. See, this will do us for tonight, Capitan. Raoul strolled past her and put his hands on the balcony. He leaned right over and looked downward. It is high. Be careful, Olivia worried. It is okay. I will not fall. He tipped even farther forward. Geez, man, don't freak us out. Harry grabbed Raoul's t-shirt and tugged him back onto the balcony. Raoul laughed. Heights do not scare me. They bloody well scared the shit out of me, Evan said. He stepped onto the balcony, then immediately sat on one of the straight-back chairs near the door. I'd scare you, but you do not fear sharks or snakes. Raoul frowned. No, I can kill them. Evan huffed, then shook his head at Harry. You pay to live this high up. Like, seriously, man, you need your brain testing. Sorry, that was bad Australian. You need your brain testing, or at least your family does. That was really bad Australian. I promise I edit these books. It's the best penthouse this side of Central Park, Harry shrugged. And only the best for the Vidals, right? Evan gripped the armrests and seemed to glare at the vista rather than enjoy it. Try and relax, Olivia said. It's kind of Dante to let us stay here. It's not as if my father can use all of his homes. Some he hasn't been to for years. Letting us stay tonight is no skin off his nose. Harry moved up to her and slipped his arms around her waist. He pulled her close so her body was in line with his. But what I will say is if you're in one of them, Liv, you can bet your life I'll be there. If you weren't, I'd be breaking and entering. She laughed and wrapped her arms around his neck, then went on tiptoes and pressed a kiss to his lips. She was still getting used to kissing him without the scraggy beard he'd grown while they'd been castaways on Elysium. Get a room, Evan muttered. All right, there are 6 to choose from. Harry winked at Olivia, then turned to Evan. Want to join us, buddy? Evan bit on his bottom lip. His attention went to Olivia, and she could sense his interest in the suggestion. Evan was a seriously sexy guy, and she'd be more than happy to get up close and personal with him again. The moment spun on. Silence. Harry rubbed his hand up, then down her back, pressing the silky vest top she was wearing to her skin. She remembered Raoul's words on the beach, when she'd been floaty with rum, and he'd been making her crazy with his touch. Would you take more from Mason and Lucas? Both of them at the same time? The 2 brothers. Or maybe Evan and Harry together. They'd be good, don't you think? Wild and passionate. Tell me, Olivia, is ménage à trois a fantasy? Do you have a fantasy for more than one guy filling you? Babe, Evan said, cocking one eyebrow. Her heart rate picked up. Her internal muscles clenched. Hot, sweaty images besieged her. Harry and Evan. Now, the reality of what they were suggesting sunk in. What do you think? Harry asked quietly. He stroked his fingertip over her neck, as if examining the fading hickey he'd given her in the cave. Well, Harry was an intense lover, and had confessed he had kinks, though was yet to reveal them. And Evan, despite his cool, calm exterior, was wild beneath it. Who else did she know who could slice off a snake's head from 10 feet away? She stammered. Can we? Ah, there you are. Riley's voice boomed across the penthouse. Worst timing ever. Harry flashed her a grin, then released her. She missed his touch instantly. And damn it, Riley had plucked the possibility of going further with Harry and Evan right here, right now, from the table. Sure, she was a bit nervous about it, but she wouldn't have minded letting them work on persuading her a little more. The relationships, friendship and sexual, she had with all the guys were intense. On Elysium, they'd reassured her it wasn't a problem to like them all, have sex with them all, but back in the real world, would that work? It was so far from the norm to have 5 boyfriends. Riley appeared at the French doors. Mason and Lucas were behind him. Come and sit, Riley said. It's time to give you details of the challenge. Great. Harry grinned and strode into the living area. He sat on a wide L-shaped white sofa and crossed his left ankle over his right knee. Give it to us. Olivia wandered into the cool of the penthouse and stood by Mason. Goodness only knows what Dante has dreamed up for us, Mason whispered, his Scottish accent thick. I'm going to stop there. I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of Scottish for you as well. Judge my accents as you will. You can't say I'm not enthusiastic. That was the first couple of pages of the wonderful Lily Harlem's Tearaways. It's book 2 in the Challenge series. You can listen to book 1 already, Castaways, on all the usual channels. And I do have a few codes if you want a freebie for a listen to Tearaways. So give me a shout if you want me to send one to you. I think that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you for listening, and perhaps the next vlog you see from me will be a bit more of a professional setup, but, well, we take professional with a pinch of salt here, don't we? Thank you for listening. I'm Rebecca McKernan. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and, well, dark corners of local bars at Becca Tells Tales, and www.rebeccamckernan.com. Thank you for listening. Mwah.